Hi, it's Robbie from Southern California. Today I want to talk quickly about soil that some of you may have been buying, including me and people I know, that wasn't quite right. So I'm going to explain to you what was going on, and I'll even show you exactly what happened. You know how I grow in containers, be it totes, buckets, or even the dishpan containers. They work fantastic. Well, let me show you what happened. If you buy soil, like this was in Miracle Grow, and I can uncover this real quick. On the bottom, you know, everything drains, by the way, so there's always holes. On the bottom, I had paper, toilet paper rolls, leaves, and different things, and I have been growing massive tomatoes, okay? The top layer had about 1 inch of Miracle Grow. Then, of course, I went ahead and I bought some Aldi's. I know people that bought other off-brands, it wasn't just theirs, and they said they couldn't grow in it. And this is what happens. You end up with these yellow plants. And you go, wait a minute, this isn't right. It's not right. What this is it's a nitrogen issue. The plant is not getting the nitrogen. The soil, this potting soil, is still breaking down. It's full of wood chips, had very little perlite, but on top of that, see, that one didn't make it at all. It's pulling from the plant. Now, this soil is not toxic. It's just not ready to grow in a container. That's all. It's not ready. If you went ahead and put this in a container and watered it, throw a couple leaves in there and just leave it alone, it will continue to break down. And if you're outside, earthworms will come to it to eat any leaves you throw in there, and then it would be ready. But the problem is it's not ready for us to use as potting soil. Now, how do I know it's not toxic? This is how I know it's not toxic. This is scarlet runner beans. Look how beautiful they are. So what I did was I wanted to make sure that there was nothing toxic in the soil. No growth inhibitors such as a weed killer or something like that. Because if there was, nothing would grow at all. This wouldn't even have come up, really. But as you could see, these are beautiful. They've only been in there, less than a week. They're growing fantastic. And what they're going to do is they're going to fix the soil. Beans, legumes are nitrogen fixing plants. And what that means is it is making nitrogen and putting it back into the soil. So here you'll see right next to them, see this? See the little tiny green growth coming? It's fixing the soil for the plants that are growing right next to it, even this one. Now, some of them, it might be too late as you get further away. Look how yellow, but this one's starting. I may have got it in there quick enough to fix the soil. Everything I put in there that's breaking down, all the paper and everything, probably wasn't soon enough because there was still this on the top, and these are fast growing plants. These are radishes. Had they been like a zucchini, a slow growing plant, though they can take off, it would have sent its roots to the bottom where all the leaf matter was and paper. That would have been breaking down. It would have been creating already nitrogen in there, and it would have taken off. But being fast growing plants, these are done in 30 days, pretty much. It just wasn't enough time for them. Now, some of these will probably still make it. What I'm probably going to do is just let the beans do their thing, let the radishes do their thing, and come back probably in a week or two. Whatever didn't make it on the radishes, compost them back in, like something like that, and then start new radishes or grow something else. Maybe I'll just grow beans. Do not toss out the soil. Some of you have said you were going to throw the soil away. There's nothing wrong with it. But when they make the soil, these companies, they have to get it at the right time when it's time to pot it, for potting. And if they pack them a little too early, they're still in the process of turning into soil and breaking down. But there's not enough matter in this stuff to actually bring any microbes or anything in to finish it. And that's the problem. When we make our own soil in the totes, and you see me do it all the time, it's working all together. All the food matter, all the kitchen scraps are breaking down, and I'm growing in it as it's breaking down, but there's nothing in here. This is just basically wood chips. They don't put as much in as we can at home as balcony gardeners. So keep that in mind, that there's nothing wrong with it. You can test it yourself by sticking in a couple beans. You could use green beans. I just so happen had some scarlet runner beans. And now you know that the soil is fine. It's just not ready for certain plants. Now, one other thing I want to talk about real quick. If you've got a city giveaway or a trash company giveaway, please, if you get any of that compost, because periodically they do giveaways, I think it may not be tested. I've gotten some before that was toxic. You could not grow anything in it. If you load it into all your containers, you will end up not having a garden. So take a small amount that you get for free from the city, test it. A good test would be radishes or beans, because beans won't grow either if there's any type of weed killer in there. And that it could take years to get rid of. So that is not even worth keeping. So you definitely want to make sure you test that first. And that's it. Don't ever get new soil and throw it into everything until you at least test it. And this is test proof that this is simply not broke down enough to grow plants that need nitrogen. Now here, the same thing happened, but I added in a little bit of Miracle-Gro on the top, and I've got my lettuce, and unfortunately, I've got purslane starting there. And you want to see something fun? Look at this. I am so jazzed. Perfectly spaced cilantro, but we'll get into that another day. This soil was ready. This was what I made with, all the stuff I put in there, and then on the top, I used some Miracle-Gro here. So it is that. And this is also, now this didn't matter. This was the Aldi's. This is my little bean farm. Pretty much all Aldi's. And of course, I always put toilet paper rolls or something on the bottom. Beans and legumes don't care what the soil's like. They're going to fix it to their liking. And they do fantastic. So maybe plant some beans in the meantime. Or if you're already planting your squash and your tomatoes and your peppers, put some beans around it. Let the beans fix the soil if you've got any doubt on your soil that maybe it's not right. And this way you can still grow what you want to grow. So I hope I've given you an idea not to toss any soil out that's not working great, because it just may mean the soil you bought wasn't ready to do what you wanted it to do. And all you have to do is fix it. That's part of us being gardeners. We may have to fix some things, and it's not that big of a deal. So get yourself some beans. And I hope you now know, do not toss out the soil. It's going to work perfect for beans. And like I said, look at that. Once the soil gets corrected, and it's almost there, maybe in another week I put brand new radishes in here, the soil will be perfect. Just packed a little bit too early. And this can happen to anything you buy. Like I said, if I would have planted the beans and they would have turned yellow and they would have died back right away, I would have known there's something wrong with the soil. With such a great demand this year of so many people gardening, I think that could be happening. With some of your bigger companies, my guess is they probably do grab some and do a test growth. They could use whatever type of seeds they want. Some of your smaller companies may not be testing it to see if it's completely ready to grow. So sometimes if we're new at gardening, maybe it's good, since we may be only using it on the top, to get a little bit of a well-known brand, because, well, after all, they have a reputation to protect. And maybe that's why the Miracle-Gro this year, and of course, Dr. Earth and all those other wonderful brands will be great too. And some of the off brands, well, we may have to help those a little bit. So with that, have a wonderful day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye.